We are. Hello, everyone. It is Age of Brilliance night, Thursday night, Friday morning. Good morning, noon, and night to all of you guys. And we are enjoying our Come As You Are party. We are here and we're doing it, guys. We're working it. We are the vessel. We are going to be learning. And many of us have studied about how to sort of turn our vessel from a little drinking straw into a fire hose and beyond. And so tonight we are really going to be, as I say, working it and understanding that our body is our portal, and that's what we're here to be in. And let's absolutely rock it. So it's our anchor for our cellular work, for our voice. We get our voice in our body. It's the way we can use our voice, singing, chanting, speaking, using our words, our experience, and our ultimate key to quantum availability and quantum jumping off into whatever we're going to be doing next and wherever Manu Mariel will take us next. So we shall begin with our Age of Brilliance and our 12 portals of embodiment.
Great.
So
We're talking about, so this is the eighth of the 64-part series that we are in the middle of. And today our focus is on the portal of embodiment. So the 64-part series are all about different portals that bring us into the age of brilliance and allow it to be amplified. So today it's embodiment. Thank you, Sunny, for hosting us. So again, Sunny, as I'm talking, if anything shows up for you that you have a question about, you can interrupt me. Everyone who's listening, if you've got any questions, put them in the chat. So Sunny will pick them up and we'll address them as we go along. So let's begin. Yeah, it is quite a sacred continuum that we are a part of with each of these sessions. Like literally straight after I finish today, I have to head off to the airport to take a flight. And I went to bed quite late last night. And I thought maybe I can miss today. But the guidance for me is next 64 weeks from the time I began are taken, and I just simply have to show up. No gaps here. So we'll see how the month in Europe is going to play out. That'll be fun. Okay. Um, Here in this particular transmission, we are actually going to move beyond concepts into the embodiment of brilliance. Like Sunny said, whatever occurs, occurs and is expressed through our body. So we can become thought-led very easily coming from our mind. And we can choose to fully experience the aliveness that is now available to us through our body. And that occurs by embodying brilliance. So it's not an idea. It's not even an ideal, you know? It's actually a living frequency. Brilliance is a living frequency, a way of being that actually becomes a transmission of miracles in motion, which are unequivocal. A miracle, as you know, for me is something beautiful occurs that makes your heart sing. So, embodiment as a portal itself is miracles in motion. So, as a portal, it is a portal through which the age of brilliance becomes real, becomes here and now. And, I sort of really went into a little bit of a deeper series of insights into it. And what I saw was in this portal, you know, energy or energetic vibrations become matter, where insights actually become action, and brilliance actually becomes the impact that we have. So not only do we experience the brilliance within us, we actually see and impact the brilliance in all around us. There are 12 anchors of embodiment. And each anchor is like an invitation. Each anchor is like a key. And together, this invitation and the key, they form what I can only call as the sacred geometry of living, leading, and loving as a flourishing leader in the center of the flourishing triad of flourishing, harmony, and humility. And it keeps you there, it anchors you there, well and truly away from the meaning triad, which gives you anxiety, takes you away from your game by engaging in blame, and takes away your vitality. So, standing in the center of the flourishing triad, let's look at the first anchor. The first anchor is presence as power. So, presence as power, you know, presence is, why does it matter? Because presence is really the portal. Because in your presence, you are in your body. And you are really, owning and standing in your human form. And what does presence hold, which is really what makes it very powerful, is it holds the frequency of now. When you are present, you're not oscillating between past and future. You are actually in the now. And what exists in the now? What exists in the now is miracles. Because now is a momentary thing, and each now is followed by another now. You're like literally, it is, remember I talk about take the next step next and keep moving forward. Now is does that naturally and automatically. You are constantly moving forward. So how do you use this understanding? How you use it is you simply drop distractions. Just drop distractions. Given that, it in I'm going to talk about embodiment, which is what I'm doing now, talking to you about the 12 anchors, and I'm saying to you that it is a portal. So whenever as you are talking about a portal, you literally take a step forward or step into the portal. The good news is the first anchor is presence. Even if you can have a sliver of presence and you take a step forward into the portal of embodiment, distractions actually stop being so attractive. They dissolve away. It's not easy. I thought it was easy, but I've had my 9 years in Bali and all sorts of other practices that I have. So if I say, okay, I'm going to step into the portal, I can just get off this chair and take a step forward and experience the energetics of the portal. But everybody can't do it because it can change everything. You're present in the now. There are many stories and justifications that you hold true. They just dissolve because they're all distractions. There are many fears that allow you to draw attention and you feel safe. They disappear because all of anything and everything that is thought led disappears when you are in this presence. So just how do you use it is you drop distractions. If you make a conscious choice of dropping distractions, it is so much easier to experience and express your presence. And a practice that can really help you is breath. Being connected and very present and engaged with your breath. So you're breathing deeply and you're breathing out deeply. This one, it helps you if your breath out is just a couple of points longer than the breath in. And as you do this, you feel fully. It's like it switches on, flicks a switch on of our feeling. And you experience the fullness of what it feels like. It's literally you feel the feel of your feelings. And what it enables is amplified awareness. You literally become very present, very aware. And what impact does that have? Real-time discernment. You may be in a chaotic place where people are going from one thing to the next and stuff. And what happens here is real-time discernment. Because with amplified awareness, that happens. What is the impact of real-time discernment? It is magnetic influence. You understand the nuances of that which will benefit you the most, and they are the ones that you're going to influence. Now, as a result of what it enables, and when each of these is enabled, from amplified awareness to real-time discernment to magnetic influence, opportunities unfold. And opportunities that unfold include impactful leadership. You literally own your presence as a leader. People are drawn to you because they feel the impact you can have. Your tribe, it starts to be formed. And if you're in a workplace, your teams become activated in line with what you're intending for that team to accomplish. And synchronicity in decisions starts to show up. So how do you, like the call to action that I have is for each one of you and me included, each one of us, is begin your day by anchoring your breath and become more present to the now. So you speak from the now and you lead from the now. A number of times people say to me, well, whatever is going on, you seem to somehow be able to find a different perspective or a different point of view. I really do speak from the now. What is speaking from the now? You're speaking from what you're seeing through the miracle lens. You're engaged in what's making your heart sing. You're not closing your mind off. You're very aware. You're very present. And you're speaking from what is real. It places you automatically as a leader. And then you start leading from the now as well. So as a result, sometimes when you get engaged in a conversation with someone who feels really hard done by, and they're going on and on and on, and it feels like so distressing. And you don't want to be in that negative vibe, but you just don't know how to stop it. When you step into the now and you really speak from the now, you're able to honor that person and say, hey, listen, I get it, that you're feeling very, very, upset about this. And I'm here. So together I can, you can feel supported at getting to the next step and concluding from where you're at so that we can move forward. You don't have to stand there listening to 40 minutes of trauma, drama. And you can do so with respect. When you speak from the now, you lead, because when you are in the fullness of your presence, the other person recognize that. and is often willing to be led only to step into their own leadership. And when you are using embodiment as a portal to brilliance, then you stepping into your brilliance and you are activating the brilliance in the other. That's what is happening. The second anchor is grounded stillness. I mean, stillness is the key in the age of brilliance. It's not about silence per se, it is about stillness. Why does it matter? Because in stillness, all truth is revealed. You can be in a silence retreat, and I have done lots of them. I have done long stretches of them, 15 days, 21 days of silence. I did not know about stillness. And silence retreats were amazing, except they reveal so much noise that is there in our field, within us, which is great because we are not often not even aware of all this noise. So being in a state of silence for an extended period of time was very useful until I discovered that stillness is really where truth is revealed. So how do you use stillness? In stillness, you actually connect to your inner voice. You're aware of your surroundings. And it is this inner voice that you are able to silence. But you're there very aware, very much in tune with what's around you. And what you're doing is you're tuning into the field. What does this grounded stillness enable? It enables clarity. It also enables energetic recalibration. So if you seem to be stuck in a state of feeling down and low and or feeling like over exuberant and you can't seem to get into your center, grounded stillness really enables you to get that energetic recalibration. It enables deep alignment to your intention, what the calling is of your soul. And as a result, many things that may be related to anxiety and anxiousness simply dissolve away. The opportunities that unfold when you are anchored, when you have anchored embodiment through grounded stillness, you very rapidly restore whatever it is that you wish to restore. Rapid restoration of well-being, rapid restoration of centeredness, rapid restoration of happiness, higher vibration. Opportunities that also unfold include, decision making, like wise decision making, unshakable centeredness is what occurs here. I found myself when I was like looking at this, when I was looking at this grounded centeredness, grounded stillness, I was looking at where in my life have I really implemented this, where I've come from unshakable centeredness. And I remember the COVID times, when it was escalating. And everybody around me online is what I was doing most of my sessions at the time. People were very, very shaken. There was so much uncertainty. All of that was there. And this was the time where I really connected to that unshakable centeredness. Where that was coming from was stillness. You know, I remember I haven't talked as many hours consistently as I have done during those times. So I was absolutely not silent, but I was still. And this whole idea of rapid restoration, absolutely, that restoration of vitality and energy was occurring very, very fast. Decisiveness was off the charts. Oscillation, whether I do this or do that, had disappeared. So, my call to action, because it's so easy to do, is see if you can create your own practice of 5 minutes of stillness before any action. And that practice could um, simply be chopping vegetables. It could be anything, literally. It could be observing the colors. It could be just simply, listening or chanting, or even talking on the phone to someone who brings you into that state of centeredness. And then from that stillness, see how the actions unfold. Sunny, shall I continue to the third one?
Yes, I just want to say, yes, you may. I just love that the nuance of stillness and silence. That's
Mm,
fascinating to me. And
mm.
so I have many notes here about that. So thank you for that.
So the third anchor that anchors you into embodiment is embodied listening. And why does embodied listening matter? Listening is how the universe whispers to us. How do you use embodied listening? You work with your sensory system. You listen with your body, not just the ears. You can feel that resonance when you do this. You listen with your body. We've done the yummy yucky test many times. Your body tells you if you are in a state of yumminess or not. And with your ears, activate them as a sensory organ and allow them to show you, what's really being communicated in all of this conversation. With your body, you feel the resonance. With your ears, you really get behind the scenes and understand what's really being communicated. And what does that enable? It enables your intuition, your connection, and your revelations flow. And when that occurs, what opportunities unfold when you are in this space where you're intuitive, you're connected, and revelations are flowing? Opportunities that unfold include deeper relationships, unexpected insights, and a self expression that is flowing, guided by your intuition. That's what happens. And I sincerely believe, how I went from, it feels like one day I was this corporate executive, really not being able to hear or listen to anything or anyone. And then suddenly I was this person who was downloading all this wisdom and information, which wasn't necessarily coming from a conscious creation. It was coming from, a deeper series of insights that I wasn't even aware of that existed within me. And I had become this amazing flow of, guided flow of divine wisdom. I do believe it was listening that had occurred. And that whole year, 2012, my very formative year, where I spent most of it in silences, I was listening in an embodied way. Every silence was spent somewhere. And it wasn't necessarily always a monastery. There were times where I was in very busy, touristy places, still in a state of silence. I was listening deeply. And that is what created all of this. Deeper relationships, unexpected insights, guided flow of divine wisdom. Each conversation. So, here's a call to action on how you can work with this. Each conversation you can ask, what is not being said and yet clearly felt right now? And I mean, it was amazing. This question was phenomenal for me. So I decided that, okay, I'm going to go back, and look at situations in my life which sort of still leave me, a little bit confused or perturbed. And I've moved on for sure, but I wanted to just practice working with this question. What is not being said yet clearly felt? And actually, what I found was in each of the situations, now I know with the benefit of hindsight what unfolded. And what unfolded was actually being communicated at that time. I just wasn't picking it up because I was in this not listening, I was reacting. And, it became the whole series of distractions that just continued on account of that. The fourth anchor for embodiment is energetic coherence. Energetic coherence. Why does it matter? When your energy is coherent to your calling, life organizes opportunities in a synchronistic way all around you. And then as you choose to live your life, you're living it coherently. And when you are coherent, it becomes this wonderful regenerative cycle. More and more opportunities organize around you. So how do you use energetic coherence is by being more conscious about your thoughts, aligning them, aligning your thoughts, emotions, and actions is how you proactively can use energetic coherence. And what gets enabled when you're aligning your thoughts, emotions, and actions? Flow is enabled, ease is enabled, activated. Your magnetic ability of magnetizing the perfect support, the perfect resources, the perfect of whatever it is that is required for you to live your calling, that gets enabled by this. And when all of that is enabled, the opportunities that start to unfold are harmonious. They're harmonious outcomes. Environments become energized, like you create the space which is energized in line with whatever it is that you're calling. I do believe that occurs now with me, given that I've taken on, my overarching context always is and remains expecting and accepting miracles as the norm for humans and humanity. And when it comes to miracles, it anchors your presence. And when you are present, you're present in the now. Now is so rich in miracles that lack disappears. And when lack starts to disappear, you start noticing the magic and wonder in everything that's around us. So the opportunities that start to unfold are harmonious outcomes, energized environments. And what happens when you have an energized environment that is energized to the attunement of brilliance, you create, you enable, you facilitate empowered cultures. It doesn't matter where people originate from or what their ethnicity or education background or gender might be. You're actually really amplifying and spreading the multiplication and regeneration of empowered cultures. So, what can you practically do? You know, listening to me today, what can you practically do so that you can anchor embodiment through this approach? Scan your field. Scan your field and ask yourself what feels coherent in my field right now. The people that are there, who are they? The kind of work I'm engaged in, the kind of home I'm living in, the kind of place I'm working from, what feels coherent, and what is out of coherence. Ask yourself what is mine to do. What is out of coherence? Is it yours to rectify, or is it yours to, delegate to someone else to work with? And then realign. This is a great one, great question to even wake up to. Even as you're waking up and asking yourself, what feels coherent right now? I have so much to do this morning before I leave home, and I want to go see my grandkids before I get to the airport. So that's just added more things that I want to get done before I leave. So, and I woke up this morning and I asked myself, what feels coherent? And yeah, the fact that I'm going to do this session, the fact that I spent last night allowing for the downloads to come in felt coherent. I asked what feels incoherent. And I got was that there was an undertone of rush within me. So it was like, okay, so what am I going to do about it? Out of the 5 morning practices, I was not going to do any of them. I was guided that I must do 2 of these before I leave my home. And that was great. It just broke the pattern of rush, so I can just stay in a centered, creative space. So shall I continue, Sunny, to the next one?
Yes, please do. No questions. I think we're all just with you on your tributary road here, path in our kayak.
Yes, I can feel everyone is fully present. And this communication, I mean, my communications usually are cellular because I'm talking about embodiment. It is my communication is like super cellular today in terms of, really communicating and allowing whatever it is that your cells are ready to pick up to be anchored within you and to show up when you're ready for it to be, brought out. So the 5th anchor is activated imagination. Like when I say activated imagination, it could be imagination. Activated imagination brings in, like you are with conscious awareness, you are activating your imagination. So imagination is how new realities are seeded. They all begin with imagination first. New realities are seeded. So how do you use this activated imagination. You see it, you hear it, you feel it, you live it before it manifests. Some of you are here with whom I have done the VAC process, visual, auditory, and kinesthetic envisioning process. And that's what gets activated. So you actually, envision that which you wish to see accomplish as if it has already occurred. And then you zoom in on yourself in that environment and see what you look like. And, look, hear yourself, the kind of words you're using. What do you sound like? And how are you feeling? And as you go deeper into your vision, you start to look at who else is around you. As they are looking at what you are doing and what has been accomplished. What do they look like seeing all of this? What sort of words are they using? And how are they feeling? And then you end this with your 9-4-6 breath. So then you get into a whole brain state. You breathe in to the count of 9, hold to the count of 4, breathe out to the count of 6. Now you're in a whole brain state. And the manifestation starts to occur. I do a VAC before every session. Every session. Before we came online, Sunny, I did a VAC. Visual, auditory, kinesthetic, envisioning. If I'm about to get on a call, I do a VAC. If I'm about to lead a session, I do a VAC. And then literally you hear the words that I would have envisioned play out. So what is being enabled here is quantum leaps. Quantum leaps. And if your intention is clear, where is this quantum leap taking you? It is taking you towards what your intention is. Creative breakthroughs happen. You develop a very unique mastery for solutions and solutionizing, if you like. Because the path is so clear, you're not cluttered or cloudy. And as a result, opportunities start to unfold one after the other. Game-changing innovation becomes available and accessible to you. And you start to experience, your own evolution to that next incarnation of you. And that enables purposeful evolution around you. So what we are doing here, this is why the age of brilliance is brilliant, because, it is brilliance by itself is very personal. And the age of brilliance, the brilliance amplification is going to take place as each one of us walks through any of these portals I'm talking about and steps into our brilliance. And when you step into your brilliance and you follow through, whatever the 12 steps are that I have talked about, depending on which portal you're choosing to walk through, purposeful evolution is activated and enabled by you. You play your part in the evolution of our planet, uplifting quality of life. A call to action for you would be, if you can do a VAC exercise, even if it is just for 10 minutes, so spend 10 minutes daily visualizing with all your senses. Just 10 minutes, doesn't have to be longer than that. You can take any one of whatever it is that you wish to accomplish that day and just spend 10 minutes seeing you already having accomplished it, listening to, envisioning yourself using certain words, experiencing the feeling of being in that experience, and then expanding and looking around you. Who is there? How are they looking? How are they sounding? What sort of words are they using? And how are they feeling? And see what unfolds. Imagine and see what unfolds. You will be surprised in a positive way. The sixth anchor is the truth telling frequency. The truth telling frequency, why does it matter? Because when you are speaking your truth, it clears static. That's why when you are speaking your truth, you feel it in your body. The yumminess is there, unequivocal flow of yumminess is there. Truth clears static. How does it and why does it clear static? Because it aligns your presence with your quantum field. And in fact, it even clears out your quantum field of any energetic interferences. How do you use it? You speak your truth. And speak it with grace rather than attack or victimhood. Really just speak your truth, presenced with the, with this wonderful connection to grace. And as you do this, you start to embody integrity. So, from time to time, I don't do it all the time, but I used to. I did this for several years. I maintain an integrity file. It's not that I'm completely in integrity all the time, but I bring conscious awareness to where I am out of integrity. And I take on, addressing that ongoingly. It's not that if where I'm out of integrity that I can actually necessarily deliver what is called for, but I can certainly be in communication about it. Doesn't completely solve the issue, but it does allow me to remain in the state of integrity. And by doing this, you're actually really speaking your truth with grace. What does this enable when you are in this, truth-telling frequency? It enables trust. It enables clarity. It enables acceleration. Opportunities that unfold here are loyalty to your calling. And with that comes the consequence of you being loyal yourself to where there is resonance. And resonance also unfolds. And when you are in that space of loyalty to your calling and experiencing resonance, you start attracting committed collaborators. And when you start attracting committed collaborators, literally anything is possible. Your call to action to use this anchor is notice. Notice where you withhold truth. It'll often show up in our own strategy of unsaid communications. If you're not communicating what you're experiencing or feeling, you're withholding your truth. Resolve it. Resolve it by being in communication and at least even resolving to reveal this unwithheld truth. And having some specific times when you're going to take this action will support you as well. Because the bottom line is, what is it the ultimate truth of what resides and expresses itself through your human body is your soul presence. You know, everything that I'm talking about as an anchor starts to, really create a clear pathway for that connection between your human body and your soul presence. That's really what's happening here. So when you resolve to, dissolve truth that is withheld, but to reveal it, you're in that embodiment portal into the age of brilliance, where your brilliance unequivocally shines through. So let's continue. Sunny, please interrupt if you need to come in.
Well, I know that we want to get through them, but the concept of integrity, being in integrity ourselves, and it's so powerful because I've just had experiences of that. And, I'm a professor at a university and I have kids from 18 to 25. And I have a certain way that I hold the class, and it's lots and lots and lots of integrity. And for me to them, and then they've fallen into like be that way with each other. It's like I've created this integrity lake. And if something comes in new that isn't with the vibe, the students get very loyal to me because they feel the student kind of out of integrity, and they just don't, they might be a little snarky or speak in class, or not really do know what we're doing. And it's amazing the loyalty that my students will tell me after class. It's like, so weird, Professor Chase, I just feel so loyal to you. I want them to not be jerks. So the concept of integrity and loyalty, I just think is so amazing, and for ourselves too, to feel that integrity. And then we actually can have that feeling of loyalty to ourselves, which I think isn't something that people talk about very much, but I love that as a concept.
Great. Thank you for sharing that. It's really great. So the seventh anchor to embodiment is whole system awareness. Why does this whole system awareness matter? Embodiment is not part-time. The moment you take on embodiment, it is total. And by total, I'm talking about 123 trillion cells total. The embodiment by its very declaration is total. And you can embody anything. You can embody being a jerk, The declaration of embodiment, just simply by that declaration, it is not part-time, it is total. And it will affect everything. So you may as well be conscious. So embodying brilliance, great, it's not part-time. It's total, And when something of that frequency is total, it is regenerative. And you start to experience it fully. All around you, things start to shift and change. So how do you use whole system awareness? Just track it. And what interferes with whole system awareness? It's often our thoughts and emotions driven by thoughts. So how do you use the whole system awareness? Is to track your thoughts, emotions, body sensations, energetic shifts that are going on within you. The more you get to know yourself, the more you can engage in the mastery of yourself, mastery of the impact that you have. That is what it enables. And the opportunities that unfold as a result of this whole system awareness are foresights, strategic foresights that you can apply very powerfully as you plan on what you're going to do next, what is going to be brought forth next in the work that you do, in the impact that you have. It also results in holistic leadership, where you're not, you are very aware of the 6 cylinders that you're firing on: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, social, and environmental. All of these are being fired into the overarching context of what it is that you are a stand for. And your holistic leadership is in that direction. For me, holistic leadership is the flourishing leadership. So I would say, I was looking at what can be a practical action that you can take and integrate in how you live your life. Build check-ins with your full system. Just check in. I use the check-in word because, my logical mind, to get this full system awareness, my logical mind, I like my logical mind to come along. So I build a check-in, and I say, okay, I've got these 6. It's as if I'm like doing check-ins with 6 people. I say, okay, my physical being, share your check-in word. What are you present to right now? It's a very simple exercise, and a word or 2 would come up. My mental being, what is your, check in. And there have been times where I've been like physically very, very busy, and I do my spiritual practices. And yet when I've done the mental check-in is saying distraught. The check-in word is distraught. Now, just simply by checking in and acknowledging what is going on there, I actually am free to, move forward with grace. But if you haven't checked in, you've got an undertone frequency that is continuing to multiply that distraught effect. Emotional check-in. My emotional being, what are you present to? And it could come up with sadness, and that's fine. Just simply acknowledging it, I can move forward. My spiritual being, what are you present to? Check-in, your check-in word. And sometimes I get inspired, which is in spirit I'm wired. Other times it is disconnected. Then I reconnect. Simply by asking the check-in word to my spiritual self. And I use an English word that makes a lot of sense to me. I'm able to get reconnected to my full body awareness. I go into social being, what your check-in word, and then the environmental being, what is my check-in word. So just building in check-ins with your full system, that alone will transform your experience of living in your brilliance. The 8th anchor is cellular integrity. Cellular integrity. Every cell carries your frequency. Every cell carries your frequency 123 trillion times. We have 123 trillion cells. So every cell carries your frequency. And if you're out of integrity, then there is cellular discord that's there. And the cells are connected to each other. And it shows up in the variety of forms, and one of those being, lack of well-being. Because it is cellular, then you may find from time to time, that some cells start to behave truant. And if you were to do diagnostics at that particular point, you might get some crazy readings. And yet the same test done a few hours later, a few days later, will show a completely different result. So if you actually are able to use the cellular integrity as an anchor of embodiment, one, you remain connected to your soul frequency. You also become very conscious of eating, moving, resting in alignment with your brilliance. And what it enables is vitality, stamina, full spectrum well being, which has a consequence of longevity with grace and ease. Opportunities that unfold as a result. You have increased capacity, your inner radiance is shining through, you're embodying joy, you know? And a call to action here would be just upgrade one aspect of your self care this week. Each week, choose just one aspect and upgrade it. It could be any of the 6 cylinders. Sunny, I'm going to continue so we do complete the 12 today. So the 9th anchor is embodied intuition, why it matters. Your body knows before your mind does. This was phenomenal. This was like, whoa, I thought the body came last. No, no, no. Your field, of course, has stuff long before your body does. But your body intuitively knows before your thoughts, which are generated by the mind, start to multiply. How do you use it? You trust your gut. That's how your body communicates with you. Follow the tingles that arise, you know? And as you do that, as you listen to your body, get that plug into that unequivocal flow of yumminess. What it enables is fast, accurate, aligned decisions. It enables decisiveness. And as you start following through with your decisions, opportunities that unfold, you save time, you expand your impact, and you do start taking risks, but they are smart risks, and you take them with joy, as opposed to crazy levels of command and controlled cautiousness. So here's what action can you take? Start journaling your intuitive nudges. Whenever they occur, you can just go into a quick voice note, or you can type it up, or you can, if you have a little book that you carry, write it down. Just journal your intuitive nudges. I'm not asking you to act on all of them. You can just act on one. You can say, okay, I'm going to act on one intuitive nudge once a month. And that's fine. At least you're starting to, really use this anchor of complete embodiment. The 10th anchor is frequency ownership. Why it matters. You own your frequency, your vibrational frequency. Do what you can to uplevel it. And when you do that, you set the tone for your field. When you set the tone for your field, anything that does not match that frequency cannot exist in your field. So if there are a variety of illnesses that have come in, or even entities that might have got stuck in your field because of the frequency that you might have been in at some point, they start to clear out. How do you use this? You start choosing your state consciously. Use the vibrational games. A to Z, words that I appreciate. A to Z, words that fill me with grace. A to Z, words of gratitude. A to Z, words that make me happy, whatever. You choose it consciously. What it enables is predictable, high vibrational outcomes, opportunities that unfold when you're able to operate in this way consistently is your influence magnifies and multiplies. And it all occurs completely without force. Your group dynamics become elevated into a very fulfilling state. You can begin your day by simply naming your vibrational frequency. The B word is like that. The B word is a game that you can play. Choose your B word today. And what is that state? And that could be a way in which you work with this particular anchor. Let's go to the 11th one, which is radical receptivity. Why does it matter? When you resist, you block. When you resist something, you block. It feels a little yucky in your body. How do you use it? Allow yourself to receive feedback and be in a state of love. And as you allow yourself to receive feedback in a state of love, abundance and truth amplifies. Naturally, abundance and truth amplifies. Being in your brilliance is the fastest way to wealth regeneration. First, anchor what wealth you do have, which includes cash flow. It is not only about cash. What it enables is amplification, wholeness, and grace. And because this one actually really works with abundance, you're amplifying abundance and abundantly experiencing wholeness. And all of this is occurring with grace. The opportunities that unfold are unexpected blessings that you can't help but count. A state of deep connected bliss and very deep healing is enabled. A call to action. And I've done this. This is how Bali became such a special place. Each day, allow yourself to fully receive something. It could be love, it could be the devotion that nature has for you, whatever. Just fully receive something. That way, you've activated the allowing portal in the context of embodiment. The 12th anchor, I know we are over time, but I'm going to go through this. The 12th anchor is sacred surrender. Remember, surrender is really connecting to something, to a higher presence. Control is a myth. Surrender is the master key. You may as well use that master key, get your insights, and how do you use it? You literally allow whatever is occurring to occur. Trust the unfolding. What is enabled, flow is enabled, trust is anchored, divine orchestration starts to play out in front of you and around you. Opportunities that unfold with this include a miraculous convergence of ease-filled, wonder-filled success. And really what we're doing here is sacred surrender. So, a practical action that you can do is ask yourself, what am I holding that is ready to be released? You will be surprised. I didn't think I was holding anything. And every time I have asked this question, there have been one or two things that do show up. And all I have to do is release, just simply by the declaration. Embodiment as a portal is activated when you embody these 12 anchors. Any one of them will make a huge positive contribution. Working with all 12, embodiment is anchored. You don't just live the brilliance, you actually become the brilliance. You radiate a frequency that reshapes rooms, conference halls, teams, timelines, trajectories. You become a living transmission of the possible, declaring, I am possible. Impossible completely dissolves. In the age of brilliance, embodiment is not the final step, it is the first step. Because if from embodiment all else flows and follows. Let this be your practice. Let this be your path. Let this be your portal into brilliance. You're not here to learn about the light. You are here to be the light that you are. So illuminate and flourish, experiencing embodiment all the way.
Manu, for you to bring us to this place, when for so many years the concept of spirituality was, sort of leaving the body, going up, going out this way, all the different ways, and to realize ultimately now that it really is about being in the body and all of the treasures we have, all of the mechanisms, all of the tools, all of the again, the different ways, the systems that we have so many systems that you've pointed out tonight, 12, hugely, hugely important. And so I so appreciate that as just like loving our body, like saying, yay. I mean, we have microphones, we have, all these mechanisms and all this fun stuff to play with and to just again celebrate and not try to get out of our body, but come on in, guys. As you are, come to the party of the body. So I could go over all kinds of things, but I know we're over time and I know you guys all received it. So just I hope we get to listen to this again and again. Let us celebrate our bodies and not try to get out of them, but get on in. That's what I have to say, and I appreciate that so much. And all of you joining us this evening or morning or afternoon, wherever we are. And we shall be again together next week, shall we?
Indeed, indeed. Thank you. Thank
Well,
you.
so until next time, guys, I'm Sunny Chase, and I so look forward to being in my body this week. More than I normally am. Much
Wonderful. Thank you.
love.
Thank you.